You know, earlier in this conversation, in addition to the very last time you and I spoke, you mentioned that China waged a secret war against the United States. They were behind supplying the raw ingredients used to make fentanyl to the cartels in Mexico. What are your thoughts on the current U.S. China relations as it stands right now?
The relations are not good because President Trump has called them on the fentanyl issue and basically has exposed that they're in fact involved in a silent war killing our U.S. citizens. It's not good. And look at all the tariffs he has placed on China. So the relationships between the U.S. and China are not good right now. Can't be.
Okay, unlike Mexico, China, they're equipped, they're armed, they're trained, they have the size, they have the largest military in the world. Can you foresee relations between U.S. and China ever getting to the place where there is a war between, or a real threat of war between the two countries?
It could develop into that, even though I don't think that it would happen. I think there would be restraint. As with the Russians, the same thing. We're not in good relationships with our Russians right now, in a great relationship either. And I think because the powers to be and the fact that we mutually have nuclear weapons, we have to have restraint. We have to. I don't think we could ever go to war. It would be, honestly, the end of the world.
Yeah, and I think that they know it. I think that Russia knows it. I think that Trump knows it. Trump recently acknowledged, admitted, however you want to look at it, that he sent 2 subs directly aimed toward Russia when one of their Congress people mentioned the word nuclear. And he said, hey, I'm just being prepared. I'm letting y'all know that as soon as you said that, I took that threat very serious. And we parked a couple of subs very close to Russia just in case. So this is it's a very, very scary situation that we're all in. And it's a powder keg that feels like it's ready to blow. But to your point, if it does, it could be the end of the world as we know it.
And I believe in Trump when he says that he can stop the Ukraine war without shooting one bullet. And he's going to do it by how? By putting economic sanctions on the Russians, by getting our allies, our European countries, not to buy gasoline, petroleum, crude oil from the Russians. So therefore, he could force Russia's aggression against Ukraine by merely putting economic pressure against the Russians. We don't need to expend one bullet, as Donald Trump has stated. And I think Donald Trump means it, and I think he's going to put a stop to that war too, like he did the Hamas with Israel. I think he's going to be successful.
Speaking of that, what do you think about? I mean, he is given the credit for being the one that brokered the deal and finally getting a measure of peace within the Middle East that so many of his predecessors before him could not do. Is this going to be his biggest achievement in both of his terms?
I believe so. I believe it's going to be his biggest achievement, that he is a peaceful president, not a warring president, that he can stop wars without expending a bullet, to his credit. And he's smart enough, and he has the know-how to do it. I believe so. I believe that he's going to put some very strict sanctions on Russia, where Russia is going to have to stop fighting Ukraine. Russia doesn't they don't want to make a deal with Ukraine. They want to take the whole Ukraine country over, not just the piece of land that they've already occupied. They want it all. And Putin has stated it.
Do you think Putin would ever relent? Do you think he'd ever, because the world is watching. It's one thing for Trump to come in and broker a deal with Palestine and Israel and Hamas. But Russia is a superpower. Russia has weapons of mass destruction. Russia's president, Putin, I mean, this guy is not necessarily known for being extremely diplomatic. He rules that country with an iron fist. He is not to be trusted. His word has again and again been taken with a grain of salt. Where if he says something, you might believe it 20% of the time. So, that's a different animal in Russia and Putin, as opposed to the Middle East.
I agree, but remember, his own people will take him out if they're starving. I don't care how strong he is. If his people have no food and are starving, they will overthrow him. I believe so. They will replace him one way or another, because nobody's going to stand for that. It'd be like us here. If we had a president that was basically keeping us from being able to support our families, from having a decent house, from driving a decent car, from having a decent job, we would overthrow him, or we would get him out. And I think that as powerful as he is, as strong as he is, if his people suffer hunger and are affected bad economically, they will replace him one way or another. They have to.
Before I move this conversation along, do you think Putin and Russia can win this war, will win this war in the Ukraine?
I don't believe there's going to be a winner on either side. I believe that Trump is going to force him into sitting down. As much as Vladimir and Putin hate each other, we're going to have to sit down and figure it out. No, I don't think he's going to allow Russia to take all of Ukraine. Maybe they'll agree to him taking part of Ukraine and sitting down and stopping this war. They have to stop it. I don't believe neither one is going to win. I think they're both going to have to give in and settle this thing once and for all. Stop this fighting.
Yeah, this war feels like it's been going on forever at this moment. And Russia, as powerful as it is, they haven't done the damage that, much of the world expected in the very beginning. The people of Ukraine have been extremely resilient, extremely motivated, extremely determined, and they've shown that we're not just going to lie down. I think for everyone's sake, I don't care who it is. Donald Trump has proven that he has the ability to negotiate. He has already been successful at bringing the war in the Middle East to a ceasefire and a possible end. I hope he's able to do the same thing there, because it's way too much bloodshed.
Sean, whether it be Trump or whoever is president of this country, the will of the people must be respected. And the opposition is not respecting the will of the people when they try to go against Trump. Let's not call him Trump. Let's call him Smith. Call him whatever. The will of the people must be respected. The people voted for this man. This man made his position clear as a candidate. I will stop crime. I will stop I will close the border. I'm going to go after the cartels. And he said it. I'm going to stop the war in the war between the Israelis and the Hamas, and I'm going to stop the war between the Russians and the Ukrainians. And he's doing it. He's doing it. But we need to respect the will of the people. The people voted this man in. And I don't think it's right that the CIA, the FBI, and all these people have tried to do a coup to prevent him from becoming president. And once he became president, they continue to try to get him out. This man was charged with 95 felonies, Sean. Please. Not even Al Capone had that many felonies. Not even Elmayo Zambada has been charged with 95 felonies. And why? Because they want to put him in jail because they don't want the will of the people to prevail? We're a democracy here. And I'm not saying he's a perfect president, but I have to respect that the will of the people voted him in, and we have to respect what he pledged to do because he let us know ahead of time. I'm going to close the border. I'm going to go after crime. I'm going to declare the cartels a terrorist organization. He said it clearly. And now they're trying to oppose him? I'm going to respect religious groups. He said it all. And this is why the people voted him in. And you ask me why the Hispanics love him? Because he respects religion. He respects God. I respect God. I fear God. I'm a religious person. That's why I support Trump. Because I support the will of the people.
You know, you said a mouthful. Clearly, you know, we should all respect the will of the people. This guy, he won the electoral college, all of the electoral college vote, and he's also won the popular vote. Is he just so popular because people have just had enough? People want different, and he's the one person who is going to give them something different, even if it doesn't come packaged the way a traditional politician would. And I said in a prior interview, everybody wants change, but sometimes change it's radical. It's not done in a way that is pretty. Is his popularity just tied around the fact that I'm giving you the change that you want, but it just might not be packaged in a way that it has this bow and ribbon wrapped around it? But ultimately, you're going to see change.
Yes, I agree. And we are seeing changes. You know, we all have hearts. We all feel for the illegals. We all feel sorry for them. We're compassionate people. We're a compassionate country. But we can't afford to have all these people just come in here, Sean. We cannot afford it. Look at the taxes people pay. I know people there, half of their paycheck goes to taxes. And to know and basically have been exposed that past corrupt officials through USAID and through NGOs were stealing the taxpayers' money. I mean, that is, you know, it didn't bother me when I thought, okay, they're getting money from the Russians, the corrupt politicians. Okay, they're getting money from the cartels, the corrupt politicians. Okay, they're getting money from whatever country. But when I found out, and it was proven that USAID was being used to fund NGOs for fake money laundering operations where they were stealing the money, do you really want to make me believe that so many millions went to buy Afghanistanis condoms. That was a money laundering operation. They didn't buy condoms for anybody, but yet they funded it. The money went over there and it came back to some corrupt politician over here that passed that bill. That's the way it happened. That's called money laundering. They were stealing, and they have been stealing, our U.S. taxpayers' money, Sean. And like I said, it doesn't bother me that they're getting money from the Russians under the table. It doesn't bother me that they're getting money from Ukraine or whatever, corrupt money. But to steal the taxpayers' money, to steal it the way they're stealing it, that really upsets me. Because if you don't pay your taxes, the IRS will arrest you, Sean. Guaranteed they'll come after you. So that some politician can say that he's going to spend $20 million to buy Afghani's condoms. Are you kidding me? That never happened. And they did that in thousands of different ways. And the money was coming back to them. Now that upsets me. I'm surprised we haven't gone broke.